Commander Zara Patel never expected her culinary hobby to trigger an intergalactic incident. As head chef of the International Space Station's newly established diplomatic wing, she took pride in introducing Earth cuisine to visiting alien delegations. But this morning was different. The Arxians, a species of crystalline beings from the Andromeda Galaxy, had arrived for their first official diplomatic meeting with humanity. Their translucent bodies sparkled under the station's artificial lighting as they observed Zara's kitchen with their geometric sensory arrays. "Distinguished delegates," Zara announced, her voice steadied despite her nervousness, "I've prepared a traditional Earth breakfast: French toast with maple syrup, scrambled eggs, and crispy bacon." The lead Arxian, Ambassador KYX, raised what appeared to be an appendage. "Our preliminary scans indicate concerning levels of multiple substances. Is this some form of weapons demonstration?" Zara blinked, spatula frozen mid-flip. "I'm sorry. The combination of sucrose, sodium chloride, and cholesterol alone would terminate most known species," KYX's crystalline form pulsed with worried colors. "And you've added something called cinnamon?" The kitchen's atmosphere grew tense as the Arxian delegation huddled together, their crystalline bodies chiming in distress. The human diplomatic team exchanged confused glances while Zara's perfectly plated French toast steamed innocently on the counter. "I assure you," Zara said, trying to maintain her professional composure, "everything here is perfectly safe for human consumption. In fact, this is quite a modest breakfast by Earth standards." To demonstrate, she cut a piece of French toast, dipped it generously in maple syrup, and took a bite. The Arxians emitted a collective harmonic screech that nearly shattered the station's windows. "Remarkable," exclaimed Dr. JWX, the Arxian chief scientist, hurriedly taking readings with what looked like a crystal wand. "The human shows no signs of cellular degradation despite ingesting enough sugar to power a small spacecraft." News of the incident spread quickly through the station's communications channels. Within hours, Zara found herself at the center of an impromptu scientific investigation. Alien researchers from 3 different galaxies requested permission to observe her make toast. "Perhaps," suggested Ambassador KYX, "now safely behind a containment field, humans developed this resistance due to their planet's unique conditions?" Zara suppressed a laugh as she cracked eggs into a bowl. "We just like the taste. Wait until you hear about our spicy foods." The mention of capsaicin sent another wave of panic through the alien delegation. Emergency protocols were activated, and the station's medical bay was put on high alert. Meanwhile, Zara continued her breakfast preparation, occasionally sampling her cooking to the horror and fascination of her audience. "The human female has consumed approximately 1,200 calories of what they call breakfast," Dr. JWX noted in their official log. "Their cellular structure appears unchanged. This defies all known biological principles." As the morning progressed, more alien scientists arrived, turning the space station's kitchen into an impromptu research facility. They documented every aspect of Zara's cooking process, from the way she whisked eggs to the precise temperature at which bacon began to crisp. "You mean to tell us," a newly arrived Centaurian researcher asked, their tentacles waving in disbelief, "that human children regularly consume this combination of substances?" "With chocolate milk, usually," Zara replied, which prompted another round of readings and excited chittering among the scientists. By lunchtime, the incident had escalated to the highest levels of galactic governance. The Intergalactic Council of Food Safety convened an emergency session, and Zara's simple breakfast had become the subject of classified research projects across 17 star systems. Through it all, Zara maintained her calm, continuing to cook and explain the cultural significance of breakfast foods. She detailed the history of French toast, the maple syrup harvesting process, and the art of achieving the perfect egg scramble. "You know," she said, cleaning up after the morning's excitement, "on Earth, this would be considered a rather ordinary breakfast. Nothing special at all." Ambassador KYX's crystalline form flickered with what might have been amusement. "Commander Patel, I believe you have just revolutionized our understanding of human physiology. Your species continues to surprise us." As Zara prepared to end her shift, she received an urgent message from Earth's diplomatic corps. Apparently, news of the breakfast incident had reached several alien civilizations, and they were now requesting formal demonstrations of human-eating capabilities. "Just wait until they discover hot sauce," Zara muttered to herself, already planning tomorrow's menu. As she left the kitchen, she could hear the alien scientists still debating how humans had evolved to consume what they considered weapons-grade nutrients. The day that became known as the French toast incident marked a turning point in human-alien relations. It proved that sometimes the most ordinary aspects of human life could be the most extraordinary to others. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, countless alien scientists were now studying the seemingly impossible resilience of the human digestive system. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with nervous energy as representatives from over 300 species gathered for what the media had dubbed the Breakfast Summit. High above New Geneva's gleaming spires, the massive circular chamber had been specially modified to accommodate beings of all physiologies, from methane-breathing Jovians to silicon-based crystal folk. Admiral Raj Singh stood at the podium, maintaining his military bearing despite the absurdity of explaining hash browns to an interstellar audience. Behind him, a holographic display showed real-time footage from diners across Earth. "Distinguished delegates," he began, his voice echoing through universal translators, "we understand your concerns about human eating habits. However, I assure you that pancakes are not, in fact, biological weapons." The chamber erupted in chittering, buzzing, and various alien expressions of disbelief. A Mercurian delegate, their mercury-like form rippling with agitation, rose from their containment sphere. "We have analyzed your maple syrup," the Mercurian announced, their voice like liquid metal. "The sugar content alone could power a small fusion reactor. Yet your younglings consume this substance while watching what you call cartoons?" Before Admiral Singh could respond, Dr. Lyra Nazario, Earth's leading xenobiologist, stepped forward. She had spent the last week explaining coffee to increasingly horrified alien scientists. "Perhaps," she suggested, pulling up new holographic data, "we should discuss the cultural significance of breakfast rather than just its chemical composition." The images shifted to show families gathering around morning meals, kids rushing to school with toast in hand, and friends meeting for Sunday brunch. The alien delegates watched in fascinated horror as humans casually consumed what their civilizations classified as hazardous materials. "Remarkable," whispered first speaker ZZYX of the Hive Collective, their antennae twitching. "They appear to derive emotional sustenance from these chemical bombardments." The summit took an unexpected turn when Ambassador KYX, still shaken from the French toast incident on the space station, proposed a radical solution, a controlled observation of human breakfast habits in their natural environment. "We must understand," they chimed, crystal facets gleaming, "how this species has evolved to not only survive but thrive on substances that would devastate entire ecosystems." The proposal passed unanimously, though several delegates had to be treated for shock when someone mentioned the concept of bottomless mimosas. Meanwhile, in the chamber's gallery, Commander Zara Patel watched with growing amusement. Her infamous breakfast demonstration had sparked this interstellar crisis, and now she couldn't help but wonder what these beings would make of Earth's other meals. The observation teams were assembled within hours. Each major city on Earth would host alien researchers, all carefully briefed on human dietary customs. They were particularly warned about something humans called food challenges. "Remember," Dr. Nazario cautioned the observers, "what you're about to witness may seem impossible. Humans will voluntarily ingest capsaicin for entertainment. They compete to see who can consume the most wings. Some even drink liquid beans first thing in the morning." The mention of coffee sent another ripple of concern through the chamber. The Photosynthetic Confederation had already filed a formal protest about humanity's casual relationship with caffeine. As the summit proceeded, Admiral Singh found himself defending increasingly specific aspects of human breakfast culture. Yes, some humans did put pineapple on pizza, even for breakfast. No, cereal milk was not a biological weapon. Yes, some people did enjoy something called breakfast for dinner. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Junior diplomat Wei Johnson, barely out of training, suggested a practical demonstration. Within minutes, the chamber's auxiliary kitchen was activated, and the smell of bacon began to waft through the air filtration system. The effect was immediate and unprecedented. Several species discovered they had olfactory responses they never knew existed. The Jovians, who didn't even eat solid matter, found themselves inexplicably drawn to the aroma of frying eggs. Perhaps, Wei suggested, as aliens cautiously approached the cooking station, understanding comes through experience rather than analysis? The next few hours transformed the summit from a Security Council into something resembling a cosmic cooking show. Under careful supervision, and with numerous safety protocols in place, brave alien delegates sampled tiny portions of various breakfast foods. The results were surprising. While many foods remained toxic to non-humans, the simple act of sharing a meal, even if only through observation, created unexpected diplomatic bridges. The crystal folk discovered they could safely consume maple syrup, though it made them temporarily translucent. The Jovians found they could appreciate the aesthetic pattern of waffle squares. As the summit drew to a close, the Galactic Council made an historic decision. Human breakfast would be classified as a protected cultural phenomenon rather than a security threat. Earth's restaurants would require special licensing and warning labels, but they would be allowed to operate throughout regulated space. Admiral Singh, finally allowing himself to relax, turned to Commander Patel. "Well, that's breakfast sorted. Should we tell them about hot sauce now, or save that crisis for next week?" Zara smiled, watching as a group of alien delegates cautiously approached a plate of French toast. "One culinary revelation at a time, Admiral. One at a time." The surveillance footage from Denny's at 3 a.m. was now classified at the highest levels of galactic security. Senior researcher VYX of the Xenogastronomic Studies Division hadn't slept, or performed photosynthesis, for 3 Earth cycles after witnessing what humans called a Grand Slam challenge. Field report, Earth date September 15, 2147, VYX dictated into their crystalline recorder, while observing a 24-hour diner in Chicago. Humans continue to demonstrate inexplicable dietary behaviors. Subject number 471 has just requested something called extra crispy hash brown scattered, smothered, and covered at 0400 hours. This appears to be a common occurrence. Across Earth, similar scenes played out as alien research teams struggled to comprehend human breakfast customs. In New York, a Mercurian scientist had to be evacuated after witnessing a competitive eating champion devour 30 pancakes in 10 minutes. At the Intergalactic Research Center's Earth Division, Dr. KRZZXT of the Hive Collective was presenting their latest findings to a stunned audience. The humans have designated establishments they call brunch spots, KRZZXT explained, their antennae twitching nervously. These locations combine traditional breakfast toxins with alcohol, creating what they term a weekend vibe. Most baffling is their reaction to waiting in line for hours to participate in this ritual. The presentation screens showed crowds of humans cheerfully waiting outside popular restaurants, seemingly eager to consume what alien scientists had termed voluntary poison combinations. In Los Angeles, lead observer NX-427 was having particular difficulty with their assignment at a trendy cafe. Subject orders liquid beans modified with additional stimulants, then complains about something called jitters, while immediately ordering another. Human behavior continues to defy logical analysis. The research teams had divided Earth's breakfast venues into categories. Traditional diners, threat level, severe. Trendy brunch spots, threat level, extreme. Fast food establishments, threat level, apocalyptic. Home kitchens, threat level, varying/unpredictable. But it was the food trucks that truly tested their understanding. Mobile units dispensing breakfast burritos the size of small mammals challenged everything they thought they knew about portion control and food safety. They simply wrap multiple deadly substances in a tortilla, reported field agent ZYX, watching a construction worker casually devour a breakfast burrito. The humans call this convenient. We call it an engineering marvel of containment technology. The breakthrough in understanding came from an unexpected source. Junior researcher LYX, fresh from the academy, made a startling observation while studying a family-owned diner in Milwaukee. "It's not just about sustenance," LYX reported excitedly. "These gathering places serve a social function. Humans bond over their shared consumption of potentially lethal substances. They call it breaking bread together, though I've observed very little actual bread breaking." This revelation sparked a new avenue of research. Teams began focusing less on the chemical composition of the foods and more on the cultural significance of sharing breakfast. They observed families gathering for Sunday brunches, business deals made over omelets, and first dates sharing waffles. In Miami, a particularly brave Jovian researcher named HYX decided to take their investigation further. After obtaining 17 different safety waivers and signing an extensively modified insurance policy, they attempted to consume a single chocolate chip pancake. The resulting medical emergency and light show made international news, but HYX's dedication to science was celebrated across the galaxy. They had discovered that while the pancake was indeed toxic to their species, the act of participating in the human breakfast ritual had created unprecedented diplomatic opportunities. Back at the Intergalactic Research Center, Dr. KRZZXT was updating their conclusions. While humans appear to have evolved remarkable resistance to these breakfast foods, our studies suggest this isn't their most impressive feat. Their ability to transform potentially harmful substances into occasions for social bonding and cultural expression is perhaps their most remarkable characteristic. The observation team's presence hadn't gone unnoticed by humans either. Diners across Earth had begun offering alien-safe menu options, mostly consisting of water served at precisely 20.3 degrees Celsius (68.54 degrees Fahrenheit). Some establishments had even started charging premium prices for aliens to watch humans eat particularly spicy breakfast burritos. As Operation Morning Menu entered its second month, senior researcher VYX made one final note in their report. "Perhaps the most dangerous thing about human breakfast isn't the food itself, but how it makes other species feel about their own culinary limitations. These humans don't just eat the impossible, they make it look enjoyable." Meanwhile, at a small diner in Texas, a group of alien researchers watched in horror as a human child casually mixed 6 different cereals together, added chocolate milk, and proceeded to read the comics section of a digital newspaper as if they hadn't just created what the alien sensors registered as a Class 3 biochemical event. No one expected the galactic food wars to begin with a Waffle House. The ZX-Thraxian fleet had appeared without warning in Earth's orbit, their massive ships casting shadows over major cities. Their demands were simple: surrender Earth's breakfast recipes, or face annihilation. After months of studying human dietary capabilities, they had concluded that any species able to voluntarily consume such potent combinations must be harboring secret biological weapons. "Let me get this straight," President Isabella Reyes said, addressing the United Earth Council. "They think our pancake recipes are military secrets?" Admiral Singh nodded grimly. "They believe we're weaponizing syrup, Madam President." Their latest transmission specifically mentioned something about the forbidden knowledge of French toast. The ZX-Thraxians had clearly misinterpreted humanity's unique digestive capabilities as evidence of advanced biological engineering. Their scientific council had become convinced that humans had developed some sort of super soldier program based on breakfast foods. Commander Zara Patel, whose French toast demonstration had started this whole situation, proposed an audacious plan. "What if we invite them to breakfast? The resulting Breakfast Defense Initiative was perhaps the strangest military operation in human history. Every diner, cafe, and breakfast spot on Earth was activated as a diplomatic front line. The plan was simple: overwhelm the Z-Extraxians with hospitality. When the first Z-Extraxian delegation landed outside a Waffle House in Atlanta, they were armed with scanning equipment and wearing full hazmat suits. What they found instead was a grinning short-order cook named Joe Williams, who had been flipping eggs for 30 years. "Y'all want your hash browns scattered, smothered, and covered?" Joe asked through their universal translator. The Z-Extraxian sensor arrays went berserk at the mere suggestion. Across the globe, similar scenes played out. In Tokyo, alien observers watched in stunned silence as humans casually consumed natto for breakfast. In Mumbai, a group of Z-Extraxian scientists had to be revived after witnessing the casual application of chili to morning foods. The turning point came during a live broadcast from the International Space Station. Commander Patel, now heading the Diplomatic Cuisine Division, invited High Commander ZX to observe the preparation of what she called just a basic breakfast spread. The galaxy watched as she calmly prepared Eggs Benedict, a dish that the Z-Extraxian sensors classified as a potential extinction-level event. The hollandaise sauce alone violated 17 galactic safety protocols. "You see," Zara explained, sliding a plate toward the heavily protected ZX Thor, "there's no weapon here. This is just how we start our day." The Z-Extraxian leader's compound eyes widened as she took a bite, showing no ill effects from what their civilization considered a weapon of mass destruction. More shocking to them was her obvious enjoyment of the meal. "Impossible," ZX Thor whispered. "Our calculations suggested this combination of substances would create a localized quantum singularity." The breakthrough came when Dr. Lyra Nazario managed to identify a single breakfast food that was safe for Z-Extraxian consumption: plain toast. Without butter. Barely toasted. What followed was an unprecedented diplomatic campaign. Humans across the planet hosted breakfast parties, inviting Z-Extraxian observers to witness everything from simple continental breakfasts to elaborate Sunday brunches. The aliens remained safely behind their protective barriers, but the message was clear: Earth's culinary capabilities were cultural, not military. "Your species," High Commander ZX Thor finally admitted during an emergency council session, "is either the most sophisticated biological weapon ever created, or simply the most puzzling evolution of digestive capabilities we've ever encountered." "Why not both?" President Reyes suggested, sipping her third cup of coffee, an act that made several Z-Extraxian scientists faint. The galactic food wars ended not with a bang, but with a buffet. The Z-Extraxian fleet withdrew, leaving behind a team of cultural observers and a formal request for humanity to label all their breakfast establishments with appropriate hazard warnings for non-human species. In the aftermath, Earth's position in the galactic community actually improved. Any species considering hostile action had to contend with the fact that humans regularly and enthusiastically consumed substances that most civilizations classified as biological weapons. "It's not the breakfast they fear," Admiral Singh noted in his final report. "It's the species that invented the concept of spicy breakfast burritos for fun." Commander Patel, whose original French toast demonstration had inadvertently prevented an interstellar war, received the United Earth Medal of Honor. She celebrated by opening the galaxy's first human breakfast restaurant on Alpha Centauri, complete with warning signs in 47 languages and a special observation deck for non-human customers. Meanwhile, in diners across Earth, humans continued their morning routines, blissfully adding hot sauce to their eggs while alien observers updated their threat assessments. The Z-Extraxians had learned what many species were beginning to understand: sometimes the best defense is a good breakfast. 5 years after the Great Breakfast Standoff, humanity's impact on galactic cuisine had become nothing short of revolutionary. The Patel's Place breakfast chain had expanded to 17 star systems, each location equipped with reinforced observation galleries and emergency medical stations for overwhelmed alien observers. Commander Zara Patel, now Admiral Patel, stood in the kitchen of her newest restaurant on New Mars, watching as her staff prepared for the morning rush. The establishment had just been awarded 5 Galactic stars, the first time a human restaurant had achieved this honor. The secret, she explained to an interviewer from the Intergalactic Culinary Review, was never trying to make our food safe for everyone. Instead, we turned breakfast into a cultural exchange. The restaurant's design reflected this philosophy. 3/4 of the space was dedicated to sealed observation areas where beings of all physiologies could safely watch humans consume their morning meals. The special effects were apparently better than most entertainment venues. The humans are about to add hot sauce to their eggs, a young crystal folk warned their companions. Prepare your sensory filters. Dr. Lyra Nazario, who now headed the Institute for Xenogastronomic Understanding, had developed a classification system for alien species interested in exploring human cuisine. Level 1, can observe without protective equipment. Level 2, requires basic shielding. Level 3, must remain behind reinforced barriers. Level 4, virtual observation only. Level 5, should not be informed that maple syrup exists. But the real breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Junior researcher LYX, now Chief Science Officer of the Galactic Dietary Exchange, discovered that certain human breakfast preparations could be modified for alien consumption. Their first success. A silicon-based version of toast that crystal folk could safely consume. It's nothing like actual toast, LYX admitted, their crystalline form vibrating with pride, but it lets us participate in the human ritual of brunching. The human concept of brunch had particularly captivated the galactic community. The idea of a meal that deliberately combined breakfast and lunch foods, often served at neither breakfast nor lunch time, was seen as either madness or brilliance, depending on the species observing it. Even the ZX Thraxians, who had once threatened war over breakfast, had become enthusiastic students of human cuisine. They had opened their own observation center on their homeworld, where their scientists studied the remarkable human ability to consume spicy breakfast burritos while scrolling through social media feeds. The casualness is what truly astonishes us, High Commander ZX Thor admitted during a diplomatic breakfast. They watched from behind protective shielding as President Reyes casually dunked a bacon strip into a runny egg yolk. You've transformed potential biohazards into comfort food. The galaxy had begun to adapt to human dietary eccentricities in unexpected ways. Space stations now featured dedicated, human sections, in their cafeterias, marked with warning signs and equipped with ventilation systems to handle the aroma of coffee. Some alien species had even started collecting human breakfast cereals as art objects, fascinated by the colorful boxes containing what their sensors identified as sweet chemical crystals. Admiral Singh, now retired, had taken to giving lectures on the strategic implications of human breakfast at the Galactic Military Academy. His favorite demonstration involved showing alien cadets how humans had turned the simple act of cooking eggs into dozens of different techniques. A species that can devise this many ways to prepare a single food item, he would say, is not a species to be underestimated. But perhaps the most profound change came in how the galaxy viewed humanity itself. The species that could casually consume substances that would devastate entire alien civilizations was clearly not to be trifled with. Yet these same humans used their terrifying dietary capabilities not for warfare, but for social bonding and celebration. They gather willingly to consume these substances, noted one alien anthropologist, not as a show of strength, but as a display of friendship. It's either the most sophisticated psychological warfare ever devised, or the purest form of social connection we've ever encountered. Admiral Patel, watching from her restaurant as humans and aliens alike shared in the breakfast experience, knew it was both. Humanity had turned their biological quirks into a bridge between species, proving that even the most alarming differences could become grounds for understanding. As she prepared for another day of serving scrambled eggs to amazed humans and horrified aliens alike, Zara reflected on how far they'd come. The morning ritual that had once almost started a war had transformed into one of the galaxy's most popular tourist experiences. In the end, she wrote in her memoir, breakfast wasn't just about the food. It was about showing the galaxy that the most remarkable things can come from the most ordinary moments, even if those ordinary moments involve consuming what 3/4 of known species consider weapons-grade materials before noon. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, a Jovian food critic was attempting to explain to their readers why humans voluntarily consumed something called extra spicy breakfast potatoes, while describing it as comfort food. The galaxy would never quite understand humans, but they had learned to appreciate them, from a safe distance, behind reinforced shields, preferably with good ventilation.